welcome to this deep dive. You sent us some really fascinating stuff on Cyrus the Great,
Oh, yeah.
founder of the Achaemenid Empire,
Huge.
conqueror,
Absolutely.
and surprisingly, a benevolent ruler.
It seems that way.
His story is full of surprises, isn't it? So I'm really excited to dig into this with you.
Yeah, Cyrus's impact, it's still felt today in his life. It offers a lot of insights into the ancient world that are both fascinating
Yeah.
and I think still relevant to the present.
Yeah.
From military genius to his approach to religion, I think there's a lot to unpack here.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's unpack it. What really jumps out at me, even just looking at this material, is that Cyrus's name is a bit of a mystery.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a puzzle waiting to be solved, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. The name Cyrus, it comes from the old Persian kurush, and scholars have debated its meaning for centuries. Some connect it to the Persian word for sun, that's kor,
Okay.
suggesting a translation, like the sun.
Like the sun, wow. For a king of kings, that's a powerful image. It evokes this idea of radiance and strength and almost a divine aura.
Right. But there are other interpretations too,
Really?
which make you wonder about the different aspects of his personality and how he was perceived.
I see.
So some scholars, they propose it means humiliator of the enemy in verbal contest, and that's based on an Indo-European root.
Okay, that's quite a contrast.
Yeah.
From like the sun to
Yeah.
humiliator the enemy. So maybe he wasn't just a military strongman,
Right.
but also skilled in diplomacy and negotiation. A leader who could conquer with words as well as armies.
Yeah, precisely. And then we have the possibility of Elamite origins,
Oh.
which mean he who bestows care. So this hints at a more benevolent side,
Okay.
a ruler who's concerned with the well-being of his people. I mean, it really is fascinating how a single name can hold so many meanings and so many possibilities.
It's true. It's like each interpretation adds another layer to his personality, making him even more intriguing. Speaking of intrigue, his rise to power, that's a story in itself.
Absolutely.
He didn't start with this massive empire, right?
Yo.
His beginnings were much humbler.
He was born into a dynasty, the Achaemenid dynasty, but they ruled Parsumash, which was just a vassal state of the Median Empire. So his ascent is a tale of ambition, strategic alliances,
Yeah.
and perhaps even a touch of destiny.
Destiny. Oh, is that where the prophecy comes in?
Yes.
I'm always fascinated by how these ancient predictions played into the actions of rulers.
Right. I mean, sources like Herodotus, the Greek historian, they mention a prophecy foretelling that Cyrus would overthrow his grandfather, Astyages, the Median king.
Oh, wow.
And it's said that, this prophecy combined with Cyrus's own ambition fueled his rebellion. I mean, imagine the weight of that prediction pushing you towards, this seemingly inevitable clash with your own family.
That's intense. Talk about family drama. So it wasn't just personal ambition, but a sense of destiny driving him.
Yeah, it seems so.
But to challenge a powerful king like Astyages, he must have had support, right?
He did. And this is where it gets even more interesting. Astyages' own general, a guy named Harpagus, betrayed him and sided with Cyrus.
Wow. What?
It seems there was already some discontent brewing within the Median Empire.
I see.
Perhaps Harpagus saw Cyrus as a better leader, or maybe he just had his own grievances against Astyages. Whatever the reasons, Cyrus was able to capitalize on this internal conflict.
So a combination of ambition, prophecy, and some shrewd political maneuvering.
Sounds about right.
His rise to power was a calculated game of chess, wasn't it?
It was. And after a 3-year conflict, Cyrus seized the Median capital, Ecbatana. This victory marked a significant power shift in the ancient Near East. It was the rise of the Persians and the decline of the Medes.
Wow.
And it was only the beginning.
Right. He didn't stop there.
Yeah.
He went on to build this vast empire. But from what I've read, he wasn't just a brutal conqueror.
No.
There are accounts of him being a brilliant military strategist, employing tactics that completely surprised his enemies. It's like he was always one step ahead, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. He had this knack for adapting to different situations.
Yeah.
And using unexpected strategies to his advantage.
Okay.
So, for instance, in his conquest of Lydia, he was facing King Croesus,
Yeah.
who was famous for his powerful cavalry. But knowing that Lydian horses were unfamiliar with camels,
Okay.
Cyrus strategically positioned his dromedaries at the front line.
Wait, camels in battle.
Yeah.
That's not something you see every day.
No, you don't.
What a surprising tactic. I can't even imagine what the Lydian soldiers must have thought when they saw these camels coming at them.
It must have been pretty wild.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. The Lydian horses, they panicked, and it gave Cyrus a decisive victory.
Wow.
And It demonstrated his out-of-the-box thinking and his ability to exploit his enemy's weaknesses.
Talk about psychological warfare.
Huh?
I bet that victory earned him a reputation for being unpredictable and cunning.
Oh, for sure.
But he didn't just rely on surprise attacks, did he?
Yeah.
What other tactics did he use?
Well, he was also known for his innovative siege techniques.
Okay.
So he utilized earthworks to breach city walls, a tactic that baffled his Greek contemporaries.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, they were used to, traditional siege warfare. And here comes Cyrus with this new approach.
Wow.
It seems like he had a gift for combining, traditional warfare with these innovative methods.
It sounds like he was always pushing the boundaries of what was possible in warfare.
Yeah.
Always looking for an edge. And this strategic brilliance was likely a key factor in the success of his army, especially that legendary Immortals unit.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me more about these Immortals. They sound incredible.
They were. They were an elite force of 10,000 soldiers.
Wow.
And they were constantly replenished to maintain their full strength.
Really?
Yeah. So Herodotus, he described them as always remaining at exactly 10,000.
Wow.
With replacements immediately filling any vacancies caused by, death or injury or illness. So their presence on the battlefield would have been very intimidating. A symbol of the Persian army's unwavering power.
So, not literally immortal, but symbolically immortal.
Exactly.
They represented the undying might of the Persian Empire, this force that could never be truly defeated.
Yeah.
And with a brilliant strategist like Cyrus leading them, it's no wonder they achieved so much.
Right.
But here's the thing that really sets Cyrus apart. His tolerance.
Right.
It doesn't seem to fit the mold of a typical ancient conqueror, does it?
No.
A fascinating contradiction.
It is. It's one of the most remarkable things about him.
Yeah.
So in 539 BC, he conquered Babylon, which was a major power at the time. But unlike previous conquerors, who often imposed their own beliefs and customs,
Right.
Cyrus took a completely different approach.
He's famous for his religious tolerance.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that makes him such a compelling figure. How did this tolerance manifest itself? Were there specific examples of his actions?
Well, we have this remarkable piece of evidence, and it's called the Cyrus cylinder. This inscription, it was found in the foundations of the Isagila Temple in Babylon, and it tells a very different story than your typical victory declarations.
I see.
It gives us a glimpse into his mindset and his unique approach to ruling a diverse empire.
So what does the Cyrus cylinder say? What makes it so special?
Well, it denounces the former Babylonian king, Nabonidus, as impious,
Okay.
and portrays Cyrus as favored by the Babylonian god Marduk.
Okay.
But here's the key part. It details Cyrus's efforts to restore temples and repatriate displaced people
Oh, wow.
who had been deported by previous Babylonian kings. This suggests a deep respect for local beliefs and customs,
Yeah,
a desire to heal the wounds of conquest rather than inflict further harm.
that's incredible. He's essentially allowing people to return to their homelands and practice their own religions freely.
Yeah.
It's almost unheard of for a conqueror to show this level of respect for the conquered people's beliefs.
Yeah. It makes you rethink the image of a typical ancient conqueror.
It does.
Right.
And this act alone sets him apart from many rulers of his time, and even many who came after.
It does.
The Cyrus cylinder has even been called the first human rights charter,
Right.
though that interpretation is debated by historians.
Yeah. Of course, some scholars, they argue that it's an oversimplification to apply, modern concepts like human rights to ancient texts.
Right.
But even if it's not a formal charter in the modern sense, it's still a powerful statement
Absolutely.
about respecting diversity and freedom of belief.
And this policy of tolerance had a profound impact on various groups within his empire, perhaps most notably the Jewish people.
Absolutely. For the Jewish people, Cyrus's conquest of Babylon, it held this special significance.
Okay.
The Jewish Bible, it describes Cyrus as liberating the Jews from their Babylonian captivity, allowing them to return to Jerusalem and rebuild their temple.
Wow.
And this act had a profound impact on Jewish history, shaping their religious and cultural development for centuries to come.
It's amazing to think that one ruler's actions could have such a lasting impact on an entire people.
It is.
And the Jewish Bible doesn't just acknowledge him, it praises him. The prophet Isaiah even calls Cyrus a Messiah,
Right.
which is an extraordinary title, especially for a non-Jewish figure.
It is. It speaks to the immense gratitude and reverence the Jewish people felt toward Cyrus.
Yeah.
He was seen as a divinely appointed liberator,
Wow.
chosen by God to restore their homeland.
Incredible.
But there's also another side to this story.
Ooh. There's more.
There is. Later biblical accounts, they mention Cyrus halting the temple construction
Oh.
due to accusations of Jewish rebellion.
Okay.
So this raises questions about, the complexities of his reign and
Yeah.
his interactions with different groups within his vast empire.
Right.
It reminds us that even a ruler known for tolerance faced challenges and made decisions that weren't always, universally praised.
It makes him a more complex figure, doesn't it? Not just a simple hero, but a ruler grappling with these difficult choices and trying to maintain order in a vast and diverse empire.
Exactly. It adds another layer to his story, showing that he wasn't just a benevolent figurehead,
Right.
but a leader who had to balance competing interests and make tough decisions.
Yeah.
A man of contradictions.
Yeah.
Capable of great tolerance, but also capable of taking firm actions
Right.
to maintain control.
Definitely a complex figure. And that complexity is what makes his story so captivating.
For sure.
So we've covered his rise to power, his military genius, his religious tolerance, and his impact on the Jewish people.
Yeah.
What about the end of his story? How did this legendary ruler meet his end? Was it a peaceful passing or a dramatic demise?
Well, the circumstances surrounding Cyrus's death are shrouded in mystery and conflicting accounts,
Okay.
which only adds to his legendary status. It's
Okay.
like even in death, he remains an enigma.
I love a good historical mystery. Give us the different versions. Let's unravel the mystery together.
Okay, so the most dramatic account, it comes from Herodotus, and he tells of Cyrus's fatal battle with the Message,
Oh, okay.
which was a nomadic tribe ruled by Queen Tomyris.
Oh, wow.
And apparently, she sought revenge for the death of her son at the hands of Cyrus's forces. It's a classic tale of revenge,
Right.
played out on a grand scale.
So a clash of powerful rulers, a queen seeking justice for her son.
Yeah,
It sounds almost like a scene from a Greek tragedy.
it really does.
What happened in this confrontation? Did Queen Tomyris get her revenge?
Well, according to Herodotus, she did. He claims that after defeating the Persian army, Tomyris, she beheaded Cyrus
Oh, my gosh.
and dipped his head in a vessel filled with blood. A pretty gruesome end for a ruler known for his benevolence.
Wow. That's a powerful image and a stark contrast to the image of the tolerant and compassionate ruler.
Right.
But is that the only account? Are there other less dramatic versions of his death?
There are. Xenophon's Cyropedia, for example.
All right.
It suggests that Cyrus died peacefully in his capital.
Oh,
Very different ending
yeah, very different.
than Herodotus's dramatic tale.
Right.
So which version is true? It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Ancient sources often, embellished or even invented stories to suit their own agendas
Yeah.
or to make a point.
Okay.
But the fact that we have such contrasting accounts, it adds to the intrigue surrounding his death.
It does. A fitting end for a ruler who lived such a remarkable and complex life. So much mystery and intrigue.
Absolutely.
And speaking of mysteries, what about his final resting place? Is it known where he was buried?
His remains, they're believed to be interred in his capital city of Pasargadae.
Okay.
There's this limestone tomb there built around, 540, 530 BC that many believe to be his. And the interesting thing is that even though the city of Pasargadae is in ruins now, Cyrus's tomb has remained largely intact. It's even been partially restored
Wow.
to counter its natural deterioration over the centuries. It's quite remarkable to think that the structure has survived for thousands of years,
Yeah.
enduring through all the turmoil and changes in that region.
It's a testament to the skill of the ancient builders and perhaps a symbol of his enduring legacy.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what it must have been like to see this tomb in its original glory.
Well, we actually have some clues about that.
Oh, really?
The Greek writers Strabo and Arrian, they both describe the tomb based on eyewitness accounts from the time of Alexander the Great.
Alexander the Great, another legendary conqueror. I remember reading that he had a bit of an obsession with Cyrus,
He did.
almost like he idolized him. Is that true?
Yeah, it is. Alexander, he greatly admired Cyrus. He saw him as a role model.
Wow.
He had read Xenophon's Cyropedia,
But-
which, portrays Cyrus as this ideal ruler, this wise and courageous and just leader. And when Alexander reached Cyrus's tomb during his conquests,
Yeah.
he was appalled by its condition.
Right.
It had been looted and vandalized during the chaos of his invasion.
So the great conqueror, known for his own ruthlessness,
Right.
was upset by the disrespect shown to Cyrus's tomb. That's quite a statement. What did he do about it?
He was so furious, apparently, that he had the Magi, who were supposed to be guarding the tomb, put on trial.
Wow.
And to make amends for the damage,
Yeah.
He ordered the tomb to be restored.
Wow, talk about a testament to Cyrus's lasting impact. Even centuries after his death, he was still inspiring awe and respect
Yeah.
in those who came after him, including one of history's most famous conquerors.
It's ironic considering Alexander's own reputation for, conquering and sometimes destroying cities.
Yeah, quite ironic. But it speaks to the enduring legacy of Cyrus,
Mm.
a leader who transcended time and inspired generations.
Yeah.
And his tomb still stands today.
Does it?
It does. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site,
Wow.
recognized for its historical and cultural significance.
It's like a physical reminder of his enduring legacy.
So we've got this remarkable figure,
We do.
a brilliant military strategist, a benevolent ruler, a man shrouded in mystery and legend.
Right.
But what does it all mean?
Yeah, that's the question.
Why should we care about Cyrus the Great today, thousands of years after his reign?
Right.
What makes him relevant to us in the 21st century?
That's the key question, isn't it? What can we learn from this figure from the distant past? I think there are several reasons why Cyrus's story still resonates with us today.
Okay.
He offers valuable insights into leadership, tolerance, and the enduring power of ideas.
Okay, give us the big takeaways. What's so important about Cyrus the Great? What can we learn from his life and achievements?
Well, first and foremost, he challenges our preconceived notions of what an ancient conqueror was like.
Okay.
He wasn't just about brute force and domination.
Right.
He understood the importance of strategic alliances, of respecting local customs and beliefs.
Yeah.
He was a master of both, hard and soft power,
Yeah.
able to win over conquered populations through his policies of tolerance and reconciliation.
So he was a unifier, not just a divider.
Right.
He recognized that lasting power wasn't just about military might. It was about building bridges
It was.
and creating a sense of shared purpose.
Exactly. He recognized that a stable and lasting empire, it required more than just military might. It needed this foundation of respect
Right.
and cooperation. That's a valuable lesson for leaders even today, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. In a world that's increasingly interconnected and diverse, the ability to bridge divides
Right.
and foster understanding is more crucial than ever.
Yeah.
And Cyrus seems to have grasped that concept centuries ago.
He did.
He was ahead of his time in that regard.
He was. And his approach to religious tolerance is particularly striking. I mean, the Cyrus cylinder, even though it was likely, a form of propaganda,
Right.
is still a remarkable document. It reflects a mindset that was far ahead of its time. It shows a willingness to embrace diversity and to understand that a society can be strengthened by its differences.
He understood the importance of allowing people to practice their faith freely.
He did.
And that's something we still struggle with in many parts of the world today.
It's true.
Religious freedom remains a contentious issue. And Cyrus's example serves as a reminder of the value of tolerance and inclusivity.
It's true. Cyrus's example, it reminds us that diversity is a strength, not a weakness.
Yeah.
That a society can be enriched by embracing different beliefs and perspectives.
Right.
And his impact on the Jewish people is another testament to his legacy. He's revered in the Jewish tradition,
Yeah.
which is incredible for a non-Jewish ruler.
It is, and it shows the profound impact his actions had, not just on his own time, but on the course of history.
Right.
The return of the Jews to Jerusalem and the rebuilding of their temple, that played a significant role in shaping Jewish identity and a religious practice.
It did.
It's remarkable to consider how one person's actions can have such far-reaching consequences.
It is. And Cyrus's story reminds us that, even individuals can make a difference.
Yeah.
That they can shape the course of events in ways they might never imagine. His legacy is a testament to the power of one person to change the world.
Yeah, so Cyrus the Great, military genius, benevolent ruler, champion of tolerance. It's a lot to process.
Yeah.
What's fascinating here is that even though we have all these sources, his life is still shrouded in mystery.
Right.
We have these glimpses into his character, these intriguing anecdotes and accounts, but there's still so much we don't know for sure.
Right. That's part of what makes him so compelling.
Yeah.
The conflicting accounts of his death, the debates about his motivations, the questions about the extent of his empire.
Right.
It all leaves room for interpretation, for
Yeah.
ongoing discussion and debate.
It keeps his story alive, keeps us thinking and exploring, trying to piece together the puzzle of his life and legacy.
Exactly.
And that's the beauty of history, isn't it?
It is.
It's not just about memorizing dates and facts.
No.
It's about engaging with the past, trying to understand the complexities of human nature, and drawing lessons that can inform our present and our future.
Exactly. History is a conversation, a continuous exploration and reinterpretation of the past.
Yeah.
And figures like Cyrus the Great, they provide endless material for that conversation.
So what does this all mean? What's the big takeaway from our deep dive into Cyrus the Great?
I think.
What message should our listener take away from this exploration of his life and legacy?
I think it's a reminder that leadership can take many forms.
Okay.
That true power isn't just about, military might,
Right.
but about building bridges, fostering understanding, and creating a society where different people can coexist and thrive.
Powerful words. It sounds like Cyrus was a leader who was as compassionate as he was ambitious,
Yeah.
as skilled in diplomacy as he was in warfare. A truly remarkable figure. And that legacy of tolerance and inclusion, I mean, it's something we desperately need in our world today.
Yeah.
It seems like we've forgotten some of these basic tenets of good leadership.
I agree. Cyrus's story, it's this reminder that empires and civilizations, they don't have to be built solely on, conquest and domination. They
Right.
can be founded on principles of respect and understanding and cooperation,
Yeah.
which seems to have been lost on a lot of leaders today.
He wasn't perfect, of course.
Of course not.
I mean, he was a product of his time.
Right.
And we can't judge him by today's standards.
Right.
But there are decisions that, might be considered morally ambiguous
Yeah.
by today's standards.
Of course. No historical figure is without flaws.
Right.
But I think when we look at Cyrus in the context of his era,
Yeah.
and we compare him to other rulers of his time,
Yeah.
his approach to governance was remarkably progressive.
Yeah.
He was a visionary leader, ahead of his time in many ways.
It's true. But what continues to puzzle me is this contrast between his military might and his policy of religious tolerance.
Yeah,
How did he manage to balance those two, seemingly opposing forces?
right.
How did he maintain control of this vast and diverse empire while also promoting inclusivity?
It's a question that has fascinated historians for centuries. It speaks to his political skills, his deep understanding of human nature, and his ability to adapt to different situations.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a master strategist,
Yeah.
not just in warfare, but in governance as well.
It makes you wonder what his true motivations were.
Yeah.
I mean, was he driven by a genuine belief in tolerance?
Right.
Or was it a calculated strategy to
Mm.
maintain stability? We'll never know for sure.
We won't. And that's the beauty of history.
Right.
It's full of unanswered questions
Yeah.
and mysteries waiting to be explored.
Right. And it's up to each of us
It is.
to interpret the evidence and draw our own conclusions.
Yeah.
Well said. So to our listener,
Yeah.
we encourage you to delve deeper
Yes.
into the mysteries of Cyrus the Great.
Absolutely.
Explore the sources, ponder the different interpretations, and just consider what his legacy might mean for us today.
Yeah. Ask yourself, what aspects of his leadership resonate with you most?
Yeah.
How can we apply the lessons learned from his reign to build a more just and compassionate world?
Great questions. Thanks for joining us
Yeah, thanks for having me.
on this fascinating deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring.